What's going on, Freedom Church? I hope that you are having an absolutely incredible Sunday, and I am so glad that you are here, whether you're watching online or you are right here in the room. Welcome to July 4th weekend right here at Freedom. I hope that you're having an incredible weekend. I hope that you have an incredible day tomorrow. I hope that you enjoy your friends and your family and the barbecue and the pool or the lake or whatever it is that you're doing. But today we have a special treat. As you know, we love the team of people that God has assembled right here at Freedom Church. And today you get to hear from one of them. This is a guy who is making a difference in the lives of every single person, but specifically the teenagers that are right here at Freedom Church. He's making a difference in their lives. He's made a difference in my kids' lives. He's probably made a difference in the lives of your kids as well. I want you to know I love him. I love his wife, Haley, and his kids. God is going to use him in a powerful way today. Would you do me a huge favor and put your hands together for our student pastor, PJ Hughes.
What is up, everybody? I am so pumped to be here. Welcome everybody here in the room, everybody watching online. We are so pumped to have you guys here with us. I'm excited. I am so excited. My wife, Haley, and I, we've been talking about this, just how excited we are for today. She had to run home and put the baby to bed for a little bit to get a nap in. You know how that goes, any parents around here. My little baby girl, Blakely, is 7 months old. All right, she was just back in, shout out, right? She was just back in Freedom Kids before this. They all love on her back there. I get a chance to work with our kids team, and it's so cool being back there every Sunday and seeing the way that they help our kids see Jesus on their level. They really do care. And the people are back there because they care about those kids. And so it's an awesome thing back there. My son, Atlas, he is 2.5, and he is actually not here today. He's already on vacation. Dude's at the beach. My mom, his Gigi, took him Friday night, and he's just hanging out. I've gotten pictures of him posing, swimming, and all the stuff. And so thanks for the support, buddy. Yeah, love you. All right. And so we're super excited. I'm excited. We get to go down and spend some time with our family. We haven't been on vacation in a long time, so we're going to leave as soon as church is over today and head to that. We're really pumped about that. But as excited as I am for that, I'm even more excited to be up here today. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, I'm a little nervous too, because I want today to be great. Like, I want it to be great. I want this to not only stick in people's heads, but I want people to hear this and be pointed to Jesus. Like, that means something, and I want this to be a great one because, let's think about it. Jesus, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest to ever do it, right? He gave us greatness in all different kind of ways, right? He showed us the greatest example of how to live and how to love and how to treat people, right? He made the greatest sacrifice when he paid the price for our sins on the cross, right? He performed the greatest miracle by walking out of that tomb and showing that not even death could stop him. Right, he's been doing great things. He's the greatest now. He's the greatest that there was and the greatest that there ever will be. Jesus is the GOAT. Like, he is the greatest. And I was thinking about this idea of greatness, and I didn't just think about it for this message. Like, we all see greatness in our lives in all kind of different ways, right? Like, I'm sure there's people that you know that you would say, man, they are great at this, right? They're great at this. They're great at that. Maybe there's people that you know, you just feel like they're just great in general. Like, they're just great at everything. Right, and I think about this idea of people that are great, and I think about being little, right? Do y'all remember when you saw someone that was great at something when you were little, how just in awe you were at them, right? Like, if they were great, you were just like, whoa, right? Maybe it was at school. Maybe it was that person that on the playground, they were the best kickball player, like, no matter what. Every time they got up, everybody's like, oh, yeah, we run it. Here we go. Like, you're ready, right? Maybe it was that person in class who they were always good at those math flashcards, and before they even put the card up there, they already knew what it was. Like, I don't understand it, but they were so good at it, all right? They were great at that. Maybe it was somebody great at your house. Maybe you had somebody in your family who seemed like they could do everything, and they were like a superhero to you, and they were just great. Maybe it was somebody you saw on TV, movies, sports, but there's somebody you're like, man, they are just great. When I think of greatness being little, I think of being a kid growing up in the 90s and watching Michael Jordan play basketball. Like, every time he came on TV, I expected something great to happen. Like, that's just what it was. I expected something great to happen. I still remember it was game 6 versus the Jazz, right? Man, the game's on the line. My man comes down, and he had the ball. And you just knew, you're like, he's not missing. Like, it's not happening, right? He comes down, and he he goes to his right, and then he starts coming out. He just, some would say push off. I say gently guided the defender past him to pull it back. And then it's like the perfect form, and he just holds his follow through. Nothing but that. You don't know how many times I did that move in the driveway. Man, way more times I did it than I actually made it, okay? But, man, I was like, if I could just practice it, I was going to be great, right? Like, I felt greatness with that. Even that Michael Jordan, every time I watched him, I thought greatness was going to happen. I remember even, like, the introduction. So the way they would do it, they would always have a basketball game on Sundays, and it was, like, after church, like 12:30 or 1, and you would go to church and then eat, and you would get home in order to watch this. And it was always the coolest thing, because when they would do the intro for the Chicago Bulls, it's like the whole place would go black, and you would hear this dun 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 dun, dun, and then like the lasers would show like the shape of a bull, and you just started getting these goosebumps, like, man, whoo. And the guy's like, starting lineup for your Chicago Bulls. And then, whoo, you're getting excited. He's like, from North Carolina, 6'6" guard, Michael. And you're like, man, they're like, get me in the game, right? I'm ready. Something great is about to happen. I think for all of us, there's certain things we see or places we go, and we expect greatness. But here's the thing. When it comes to greatness, we all know that greatness means doing things at a different level than everybody else. But see, what sets greatness apart from being good is doing it consistently, right? See, the great ones, they do that, and that's what they do all the time. It's a shock when they don't do it at that level. See, good is the enemy of great. Good says, I can do it every once in a while, but that's not my norm, right? Greatness is, man, this is what I do consistently. Good is I can do it sometimes. It means I have potential. As we say in football, because I'm also a high school football coach, potential will get you beat. All right? See, because potential is where you think things are going to happen, but they never come through. But you're like, yeah, but that one time. See, we talk here a lot about patterns over potential, right? And great ones, it's a pattern that they're doing things at a different level. It's consistency. The great ones, their patterns show that they do those things on a consistent basis, and you can lean on those people because of that, right? Like when you know what you come to expect, you get excited, you get trustworthy of those people. You can lean on them. It's a shock when they do something against that. They're not perfect, but they can be relied upon. If you were going to bet on something happening, you would bet on those people. And I hope y'all know this. People want to be around greatness, right? Like when you feel like somebody does something great, people just gravitate towards that. It doesn't have to be just like sports or things like that. It could be somebody who's just great to people, right? Somebody who's great in how they handle situations. Like people want to be around that. They want to learn from that. They want that to rub off on them, right? People, and a lot of times people see if you're great at this thing, they think, okay, well then they could also be great at that thing, right? So people want to be around greatness. So if that's the case, then I got a question for y'all. Moving forward in your life, do you want to be good or do you want to be great? It's a simple question, but there's a lot more to it, right? Do you want to be good or do you want to be great? Do you want to do things that maybe have you kind of just floating, right? Do you want to do things that maybe say, okay, but as long as I'm not moving backwards, I'm okay? Do you want to do things to just survive? Or maybe you want to thrive in this world you're living in. Maybe you want to stand out and feel like you're actually accomplishing something with the things that you're doing day to day. Do you want to be someone that people describe as great? That's our question for today. And I know what some of you are thinking, right? Whether it's here, online, whatever, you're thinking, all right, yeah, that sounds good, but how does that actually work? Because, see, you don't know what's going on in my life, PJ. You don't know these kids that I'm running around chasing after that never listen to anything I say, right? You don't know that job that I'm working that runs me down constantly and does not pay me enough for the energy I put into it. You don't know the battles going on in my own head that I'm fighting on a daily basis, that I only have enough energy to smile because I know if people ask me about it, there's no way I can tell them what's actually going on inside. You might say, PJ, you don't know how alone I feel trying to manage all of these things going on in my life. Say, listen, I don't know exactly everybody's story. I'm blessed enough that there are a lot of y'all in here. I know at least a little bit of your story. But I don't know everything, and I don't know everything for everybody. But what I do know is that does not have to stop you from being great where you're at right now. That does not have to stop you. Anybody, I want to show hands. Anybody remember learning how to ride a bike? Anybody remember that? Now raise your hand if you've ever taught somebody how to ride a bike. Okay, either works. So think about this. Think about riding a bike, okay? Some of y'all are like, I'm not very good at it. It's okay. It's all right. It's not the point, okay? So think about riding a bike. When you first try, it is weird. You watch a kid try to learn how to ride a bike, you're trying to figure out balance, right? As soon as they try to step on, they're tipping over. You're like, come on, bro. Like, then you try to, once you get balance, you're trying to figure out pedals, and you're like, but how does this work? And it's really hard to push and all. It's a struggle. But once you find your balance, and once you start pushing through the hard pedaling, what happens to pedaling? It becomes easier. And now you start going faster and faster. Now you start coasting, and now you just have to pedal every once in a while to keep going. See, that's how greatness is. Man, it's really hard to start. It's really hard to start going. One thing Pastor always says is, hey, if you want different things, you got to do different things, right? So you got to start pedaling. You got to start pedaling. And for some of us, man, you're like, yeah, I want to be great, but man, it's hard. It is hard. You got to start pedaling, though. See, because once you start pedaling, you start doing things, and now it starts becoming a habit. It's not as hard as it used to be. Now, hear me. Things happen in life just like riding a bike. You're riding, and suddenly there's a stop sign or something comes up, and you got to stop the bike. Well, then it takes a lot more effort to get it back going, right? It's the same thing in life. Sometimes things pop up out of nowhere, and you got to swerve and readjust, and it becomes harder. But once you get back going, you can get back coasting again. It's the same way with greatness. So today we want to talk about how can we get up on that bike and start pedaling so that it becomes something that's more of a coast than a pedal. And I need y'all to just stay with me, because I'm going to be honest, every one of us in here has an area or areas of our lives where we're not excelling at. Let's be real now. That's one thing I learned when I really started going to church consistently and really started trying to get to know who God was, is I learned that I have to look at myself honestly. I have to look inward and say, okay, what's going on, and where do I need to change at? Where do I need to make some differences? And just like I said to y'all, every one of us, including myself, there's an area of our life where we got to work on. Maybe we're not excelling at work. Maybe we're not excelling as a friend. Maybe we're not being great as a spouse, as a parent, as a child, as a teammate, classmate, whatever it is. There's some place in our life where we're truly not being great right now in our lives. So today, what I want to do is I want us to kind of spell out what that looks like and talk about how we can be great in our character and our growth, and knowing that there's a place for us to go. There's a level for us to go higher. There's a way for us to start excelling at things that right now we're not excelling at. Whatever the situation is, we're going to figure out how we can be better interacting with other people and becoming who we want to be on the inside. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to be good to people. Guys, it's simple. The way you treat people matters. It does. The way you treat people matters. Listen, it makes a difference in your life now and in your future. People are more impacted by the way you make them feel than by the way you actually impress them. People forget exactly what happened, but they'll remember, man, you know what? I enjoyed being around them. I had fun with them. I felt encouraged by them. People will remember that. I think about, we had a meeting weeks ago. We were talking about putting together stuff for something we do at the end of July every year called Paint the Town Orange, okay? And I was thinking about those people that my wife and I have been here like 5.5 years now, okay? And all the people that we've been able to serve with that literally come to that just because they want to be good to people, just because they want to serve and be around like-minded people and help people who maybe aren't able to do things for themselves, or maybe there's projects that are so huge, but when you get 100 people together, right, many hands make light work, you're able to do certain things. And those people are there just to be good to people. And those people I've connected with there now are a very integral part of my life and have an impact on who I am and the decisions I make, and we help each other. But we got to just serve together and just say, hey, how can we be good to people? Right, that's coming up at the end of this month. Guys, even if you wanted to scan the seat back in front of you, you can even check that out. But whatever it is, man, being good to people, whether it's through something with church or just, and more importantly, the people that you come in contact with every single day, right? Like, be good to them. I think about the story of the woman who was about to be stoned at the temple, all right? And so, right, Jesus was way more concerned with how he could impact that woman in her situation than he was about impressing the religious people that had brought her in. See, Jesus, he he knew, yes, she was caught in adultery, but he wasn't there to condemn her. He simply asked if anyone around, all those people holding the stone, he said, all right, go ahead and throw it if you've never done anything wrong in your life. If you've never messed up, then go ahead, throw that rock. See, everybody, one by one, they start dropping the rocks, and they leave. See, it's not until everybody leaves that Jesus gets real with her, with the woman there. It wasn't until everybody left that he spoke life into her. John 8:10, then Jesus stood up again and said to the woman, where are your accusers? Didn't even one of them condemn you? No, Lord, she said. And Jesus said, neither do I. Now go and sin no more. See, he took away the shame and the guilt that would have come with that conversation if it was in front of all those people. He wanted her to change the way she saw herself, but he knew if he did that in front of everybody, it was going to more embarrass her than her actually take in what he was telling her. He knew that if he could change the way she saw herself, it would affect the choices that she actually made. See, he was worried about being good to her and making an impact and not impressing people. Now, I get it. Everyone has bad days. And to be real with y'all, there's people in this room right now and watching online that have seen me on bad days. And I just want to tell you, I'm sorry. Y'all have seen me on days where I haven't been my best. And I've done things that I don't want to be known as that person who does that or says that. But I think everybody would agree that we all have those, right? We all have those days where we just mess up. But I got to ask y'all something, and this is like a side note. Don't gather your definition of somebody based on one of their bad days. We are more than our bad days. We are more than a tough season. See through that. We talk all the time about patterns over potential, right? What is their pattern? Not what was that day or that season. You can't go to extremes. Sometimes you catch people at a bad time, and none of us are perfect, even though we should strive to be. So be good to people. Many people, and this is hard to swallow, but y'all need to know this. Many people have missed out on something great in their own lives or being a part of something great because people honestly just didn't want to be around them. It's true. Every single one of us has been that person at one point. So be good to people. Help them when you can, right? It might take a little effort, but help them. Don't say hateful things behind people's backs because you're bored or you're hurting inside. That doesn't give you the right. Be good to people. It'll come back to you. Just as it says in the book of Galatians, you reap what you sow. So be good to people. All right? The next thing is be reliable. Be reliable. Be someone that people can count on. Right? Be someone that people are like, yes, I can lean on them. Do what you say you're going to do. People always respond better to people who they know what they're going to get with it. Right? Be somebody that people can lean on. As humans, I think everybody would agree, we're naturally kind of freaked out by the unknown, right? Like when we don't know how something's going to go, we fill in the worst case scenario in our heads, right? What are they thinking about me? What are they going to say about me? What's going to happen? This is going to go terrible. Right? We all do it to some degree. See, that's why y'all need to know that the most toxic relationships in our life are the ones with the most inconsistency. You don't want to go into a situation with someone and have no idea how they're going to react. You want to be able to work with people and have an idea how they're going to be because you have an expectation. And if they don't react like that, you know that's an aberration, right? That's an exception. That means maybe they're having a bad day because they normally don't do this. See, those people you trust. People came to Jesus with their problems all the time because they knew they could lean on him. They could trust him, right? People came to Jesus for physical healing, mental, emotional help, truth, guidance, love, acceptance. They came to him in all different kind of ways. Jesus said it like this in Luke 16:10, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with very much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. Like Pastor said, I get the pleasure and the opportunity to work with a bunch of our teenagers. It's really cool seeing not only the teenagers on Wednesday nights here together, but also our leaders that leave work and come here on Wednesdays because they want to pour into these students and give them something maybe they didn't have when they were that age. It's really cool to see. And one of the coolest things is having conversations with these students outside of this, right? At Wave Week, it's an awesome, awesome chance to have conversations by the pool, at the beach, at dinner, different times, and talk about different things. And one of the things I hear a lot from teenagers, though, is, man, I wish my parents trusted me more with this or with that, or they always got to say something about this or that. But then I have to ask the question, are they like that because of that little thing that they asked you to do and you didn't do, right? Why are they wanting something? Parents, stop looking sideways now. I'm sorry, guys, teenagers, I'm going to get at them later, I promise, okay? I promise. I got a lot of my students here. They're awesome, okay? Obviously, it would be none of them in the room right now, okay? Or watching online, it's random, but whatever. But do y'all understand that? Like, if I can't trust you with this, then why should I give you this? Does that make sense? To everybody, though. Some of y'all are wondering at work, why can't I get this? Why can't I get that? Well, what are you doing with where you're at? What are you doing with what is given to you? Right? Talking about parents, I think of my dad. He's like one of the most reliable people I know. Right? I played college football at a small college in Kentucky called University of the Cumberlands. It was 6 hours from our home in South Georgia. My dad was a high school head football coach at that time. He would coach on Friday nights, okay? He would do all the stuff, talk to people, everything, get back to the field house, clean up, get everybody out. On a good day, midnight, he'd be able to leave. My mom would have the car packed and they would drive, maybe sleep a couple hours. And in 4 years, my dad missed 1 or 2 games. We didn't just play in Kentucky. We'd be in Mississippi, Indiana, West Virginia, everywhere in between. But I knew I could count on him. And when those 1 or 2 games he wasn't there, I knew there had to be a good reason because that's not who he is. And I could count on him. See, the most reliable thing that's ever been done, honestly, was Jesus fulfilling his promise by overcoming death, hell, and the grave and rising up on the 3rd day. That's about as reliable of an action as you can get right there. That's who he is. So here's my thing. Help yourself and help others out. Don't fully commit to things that you aren't 99% sure you can be there at. Your word is valuable. Think about the way you're communicating with people. If you aren't sure, don't say you will. Say, hey, I'm going to try. Don't commit to so many things. If you don't want to be known as a flake, then don't flake. Or don't give your word when you aren't sure about it. Trust is special and valuable. People know they can rely on the great ones to be there and get it done. So be reliable. There's greatness in that. All right? So be good to people. Be reliable. Be energetic. Pastor JR says it all the time. You are either a fountain or a drain. You are either filling people up and they celebrate when you come into the room, or you are exhausting people and they're celebrating when you leave the room. And as much as you're thinking about other people in your life that are those, you are that to somebody. Myself included, all right? I want to be a fountain. It does not mean that I haven't been a drain at different points. There's a quote by the New Age Canadian philosopher Aubrey Graham. Some would know him as Drake. That's why you heard about 10% of the room know what that actually was. Online, y'all are with me though, all right? Drake said, I got enemies, got a lot of enemies, got a lot of people trying to drain me of my energy. Some of you are like, I've got to Google this later. Listen, there's always people trying to drain us of our energy. But you got to ask yourself, who are you? Your energy level has an impact on the whole room around you. And when I say energy, hear me out. I don't mean, are you hyper, are you quiet? No. Energy, I mean the way you carry yourself, the tone you use with people, your body language, right? Your facial expressions. Do you give off positive energy or negative energy? Some of y'all, you weren't with the whole Drake thing, okay? I get that, it's fine. I got one for you. A long-haired beauty by the name of Willie Nelson, okay? He said, yeah, see, the ones that knew Drake are now like, who's the, okay, all right. Willie said, once you replace negative thoughts with positive ones, you'll start having positive results. See, he was saying something that Paul actually said to the Philippians years ago, which is, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. You got to take the lies out and replace them with truth. When all you see is negative things and that's all you fill your head with, that's all you're going to say when you look at any situation. We're not saying that you can't see the bad things. The world is tough, man. We know that bad things happen. But if that's all you're taking in, you're not going to be able to see that there is still good in the world. There are still good things that happen. There are still good people and people that want to help you. The enemy will try and convince you that your negative thoughts and your negative energy is what is needed at the moment. And that's just not true. Things will happen. You have every right to mourn, right? You have every right to process things in your head. You have every right to be mad at times. When those feelings become your energy, it's time to make a change. Because that energy will make a difference in your life and the lives around you. See, greatness doesn't just involve yourself. It's about making other people great as well. And your energy could be the difference in their greatness or not. So be good to people, be reliable, be energetic. Next is be accountable. Be accountable. Romans 3:23. Let's start this off right. For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. None of us are perfect. We mess up. We make mistakes. We do things we do not intend to do. So many of us, our emotions get the best of us. We all fall short. Find somebody next to you and tell them, we all fall short. Okay, hey, thank you for about 60%, okay, class attendance right there, participation. We need more of that. Let's try it again. Find somebody and say, we all fall short. We do. Know that. We all mess up. But y'all know this, honestly, most people are adaptable. You can deal when people make mistakes, but you know what's really hard to deal with? When people make mistakes and they don't own up to it. It's really hard when people are not accountable for their mistakes. The great ones, they know they're not perfect, and they know they got room for improvement. But here's what, the great ones have confidence in themselves to know that even if they messed up that time, it's gonna be okay, and I can do better. There has to be a belief that you will bounce back, that cannot and will not be the norm to you. Proverbs 28:13 says, whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy. So own up to the things you're not doing well. Listen, I know I am not a perfect husband, a perfect father, a perfect coach, a perfect coworker. Listen, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't give enough energy to my family at times. I'm too critical of my players at times. I ask too much of my coworkers at times. I get frustrated when I'm trying to help people and they don't seem to be listening too much at times. I make mistakes. But I gotta remember to constantly take the weight of that mistake and then do something with it. Work to overcome it. The great ones are never too good to admit when they are wrong, and they need to be better. You are more than your mistakes. Hear me on that. So be more than your mistakes. Be accountable. It's going to be okay. And the last one, be tough. Life is hard. Would y'all agree? Yes. Life is hard. Most of you know this. There's so many of you that have gone through things that most people around you have no idea that you've gone through. There's many of you who've lost people you love. You've gone through trauma that haunts you to this day. You've had to deal with painful situations and painful environments over and over and over. And it is hard. But know this, the great ones in life are not sitting in their circumstances. Franklin Roosevelt didn't play the victim when he was diagnosed with polio. He fought to be the longest tenured president that we had. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't sit and stop preaching and teaching when he was stabbed at a book signing. He fought to help people see that people should be judged by their character and nothing else. Michael Jordan didn't play the victim when he was out, cut from the team. He fought to find a way to improve and make his dreams come true. See, things happen outside of our control. But the question is, are we being great in where we're at and what we can do? Listen, you have every right to feel emotions when life is tough. You do. You have every right to feel those emotions. But it can't be only about how you feel. You have to take those feelings, pick your chin up, and use them as fuel to overcome that and do something great. I think about the toughest person that I've ever read about, and that's Jesus. If you really think about it, how tough he had to be. He's going through trying to make a difference and make an impact, and constantly he's being called a fake, a liar, being undercut. And he gets turned in right, by one of his friends, one of his closest confidants, stabs him in the back. He gets beaten within an inch of his life. He kept going. And even though he could have put himself away from what he did at the cross, even though he knew that he was going to have to take the sin of the world, man, he said, you know what? I got to do it. There's something greater in store. Toughness is a lost art in our society these days. Fewer and fewer people know what it is to be tough. Technology makes it really easy for things to be easy. But the greatest in the world, the ones that are more than just a camera flash in our timeline, those are the ones who are tough, who bounce back and figure out a way to take a step no matter what the situation is. See, being great takes time, energy, emotion, sweat, and faith, but you were not made to merely survive. You were made to thrive. There is greatness inside of all of you. Every single one of you. God made you for a reason, and whether you know it or not, there is a purpose to your life. So go be great. Be great. I think about the quotes from earlier, right, as we talked about all the things that greatness looks like. Maybe y'all weren't with Drake or Willie Nelson, maybe more of a Bob Marley type of person, right? Mr. Marley said, the greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. So go be great. Make others great. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't think that you can't be great enough that someone else can actually see you as great in their eyes. Don't put that narrative in their heads for them. You have it in you to be great. So listen, stop doing things based off of what other people are doing. Do things because that's who you are inside. And who you are inside, never forget this, is a son or a daughter of the King of Kings himself. You are royalty. You have to know this about yourself. See, there's people that don't understand this mindset. In Colossians says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. So be good to people because that's who you are inside. Be good to people because that's who Jesus is. Be reliable because that's who you are, not who they are. And that's who Jesus is. Be energetic, be accountable, be tough because that's who you are inside. That's who God made you to be, and that's who Jesus is. Believe in yourself because, hear me out on this, Jesus did not die for someone he does not believe in. So believe in yourself. If you consistently do these things, I'm telling you from my own story, God will bless you with greatness you never imagined. It's a constant journey, and you'll need to continue to look inward to see where you need to improve, where you need to do things differently. But you can't go anywhere unless you start pedaling. You cannot get that momentum unless you get up on the bike and start moving. So go, get up on the bike, be great. God created you for this. He created you for this, and he believes in you. Y'all bow your heads with me. Father God, just thank you so much for today and just for allowing us to have the example of greatness that is Jesus. God, I pray for everyone that was listening today that they can just understand that greatness is not something that's so far away that it could never be attainable. No. Greatness is right there waiting on them because Jesus is right there waiting on them. God, I pray that whether it's being good to people, being reliable, being energetic, accountable, or tough, whatever it is, God, I pray that today that your word reaches every single person who's hearing this, and that they know the more they get to know you, the more they'll understand how they can be better in their own lives, how they can grow in their own lives, and how they can be great by getting to know the greatest one to ever do it. And that's your son, Jesus. In your name we pray. Amen.